and they matching outfits, but those girls never came back and said, you know, this was hard for me.
So what pulled you out, you know, because this is something, like you said, no hope, like you're going through this day in and day out. You're seeing the same thing back to back. Nothing is helping. You're seeing people in your church who are supposed to extend you that love, and there seems like they're doing the opposite. It seems like you're not getting the love that you expect, I'll say, from your family, or this is a point for your family, to look at things in a different light. How did you keep going? How did you make that step to keep going? Because I just feel like there's an added pressure being someone in church.
There is.
That's in a sense unspeakable, and it's not necessarily, I think it's a part of it when you have other people looking at you, but it's more so that interpersonal between you and yourself, and also you and God. And so what did you think of yourself in that space?
I don't think that I really knew. There was a big part of me that was like, okay, well, you know, I've repented, so me and God are straight. You know, I believe we're straight. Except when I go up to the altar, and you know, sometimes you go up, you don't really have a specific request. You're like, I just want more of God. I want more, whatever this is that's happening in the sanctuary right now.
And when you say go up to the altar, for those who may not be familiar with it,
for prayer, for prayer, like during a church service, and so I would go up sometimes, and I could have went up and said I had a headache, okay, and then you have somebody that may come and pray for you, and I always felt like they ran out of things to say, and so they'd start going into, God, she made a mistake, but she loves you, and blah blah.
Did you just stop the prayer like you done? I'm done.
Heal her and take it, deliver her from the pain, and I'm like, that's not what I can't. My daughter is 6. Like, why are we still talking about this? So
6 years ago, she's grown herself. She's 18 years old, and we're still praying about this.
Right. We are. So I'm past this. I need you to get past this too. So things like that, things like that. So it was kind of hard for me, because I'm like, I think me and God are good, but they saying we ain't. So maybe we're not. And I think too, on the inside, something came to me where I felt like I needed to prove everybody wrong. Okay. Because when it comes to a place where they're like, well, I thought you was gonna be this, but now you can't do that because you got a baby, or like my grandma's thing where, so you and him gonna get married? Like, no. Well, why not? Y'all got a baby.
It ain't work when we were.
So things like that, it kind of, it really makes you question who you are, or if you're still capable of, not to mention, prior to this, I had dropped out of college. So, I mean, it hasn't been like smooth sailing on this adulting thing, but just knowing that I had to prove them wrong for myself, and then also knowing that things had to be better for this child that I was raising. So I knew I couldn't keep walking around depressed. I couldn't stay in a relationship that was like borderline abusive and really crazy. I couldn't have her seeing me like that. So I had to find a way to come out of that. And so one of the ways that I was able to do that was through the gift of writing. And I didn't, I've written for as long as I can remember, but I never really considered it, really anything. But it wasn't until, I had all this pain and all these emotions and feelings going, where I was really able to just put it out on paper. And I really think that was that's part of, I guess, the worship that saved my life.
So I'm glad you said that, the worship that saved your life. And so what is worship for you? Is it writing?
I think for me, it's a combination of things, but really any way where I can really express myself to God. So I do that through writing, I do it through painting, I do it through dance. So it's a combination of things. I'm a pretty, I guess, eclectic person, and anything that's like art type, I just take it and I'm like, okay, this is for you, God. So.
Did you feel in that relationship, because I'm trying to relate your story also to some things that I've been through, and so when you do something that, I don't know if I wouldn't expect myself not to do certain things, but when you find yourself in a position that you never expected to find yourself in a position, not to say that, nope, I didn't look, I was out there like, I expected myself to get down with that guy, you know, but was there a conversation that you had to have with God where you had to be at peace with it? Because I don't believe that we can disappoint God. I don't know if you believe that, but I don't believe that we can disappoint God, because God knows what we're going to do. And that's why forgiveness exists.
Yes.
Like, but I think that there is a factor, especially when it comes to women that are in the church, women that have a relationship with God, or may not have necessarily formed that personal relationship with God, but they know all of the kind of religious things that go along with it. But at the core of it, it's really, you know, how you view God. Did something shift in that space when you experienced all these things you experienced?
Definitely. I can say yes, because I guess before then I didn't really have to rely or depend on God that much. I knew that He existed, and I professed to be saved, and I guess I had experienced Him, but having to, you know, I guess crying on my pillow at nightly to God, like, you gotta fix this, was not the norm before this situation. You know, sometimes things have to be really, really bad before we start praying consistently, before we start really, really seeking Him. And so that's at that point, that's when, okay, well, He is my refuge. This is, you know, where I need to run. I didn't have anywhere else to go, and I didn't have anybody else who could help me. And I guess it sucks that sometimes we have to hit rock bottom like that to actually realize that, you know, God is our source, and that's who we need to depend and rely on. Sometimes without those experiences, we can rely on our friends or our parents, or, you know, whoever else, our church leaders, and we don't necessarily always get Him for ourselves. And so that was my getting Him.
Can you talk about how your family healed through this process? And when I say that, I don't know if there was a sense of rejection, you know, that you felt maybe when you didn't get that kind of celebration, you didn't get that approval, that yep, I had sex before marriage, but I'm bringing a child into the world. You know, one of the greatest miracles. How did your family heal through that?
You know, I think things started to shift once she was born. Like, how could you still be mad after this cute little baby? You know, comes into this world, and then I named her after my dad, and like, how could you can't still, you know? And so I think just growing, watching her grow, and us just growing with her, kind of helped the healing process. Now again, we had outside factors, things that we had to deal with as a family, and I think once we were able to get on the same page.
Do you care to go into detail about those?
Well, just for example, how I talked about before with her father.
Okay.
And so he and I didn't just have issues, we had family issues.
Okay.
And stories robberies and blow-ups in parking lots and all kinds of things.
I can see how family can get involved easily.
Yeah, and really them trying to protect me, trying to protect her, not really knowing him, so whatever happens with that. And so just having some of those issues, and them having to make sure, okay, Nyshell, are you done over here, or are you? Because I didn't know for a little bit.
Okay.
But then once we were able to get clear on the same page, where at the end of the day, everyone is trying to do is raise this little girl up to be a little productive citizen and protect her and do whatever it is that we need to do for her. And I think through that, cause healing for our family.